Okay, so hello everyone. Uh, this is the demo video of fyler.nvim rewrite. It's a quick introduction about what changes are made and how to adapt this new release. The release haven't done yet, but probably this Sunday because there are some little bit of things that I have to test before making a release. So first of all, let's jump into the first questions. Why the rewrite? The reason is pretty simple because I was receiving like a lot of issues which are related to the core functionality of the plugin, mostly related to the window handling and the buffer deletion. Like the plugin UI is not cooperating with the NeoVim workflow. So most of the time, this plugin conflicts with other plugins and try to focus some unnecessary files which shouldn't be, touched. So I look into the code base and find out like I overcomplicated the code base because previously I was using the same architecture as NeoGit because NeoGit has a really clean code base and I literally learned a lot of things from it. But the problem is NeoGit uses a buffer approach and each buffer is independent of other components. But in our case, we only have one thing, which is a finder, or you can say explorer. So our main thing in the plugin is explorer. So we don't need that complex architecture like NeoGit. We don't have multiple independent components. We just have one explorer, and all our other components just complementary components to the main explorer. So I simplify the code base. Now we more focus more towards the telescope code architecture because telescope also focus on just one thing, which is picker. So I follow the same approach, and if if I have to wait just a minute, let's open another tmux window and let's go to fyler.nvim, and if I go to, you can see there is only one finder .lua file which holds the holds everything. If you open this and look at the code, you can see like it's about 1300 lines of code, and that's actually the right approach to, you know, um, that's the right approach to build this plugin because there is a single finder window which should handle everything, like every single thing. That's why I put all of the main APIs and all of the helper functions in just a single file so that it is easier to debug things out, and there's only one file to look after for anything like we have to change in UI. You just have one finder.lua and something like that. It's a developer friendly thing. So this is the whole reason why I rewrite the plugin from scratch. And it's not just rewriting the whole thing as it is. We this time it's a lot different. Like the rendering is much better now because we have a synchronization lock. Like we no longer using a debounce mechanism to avoid unnecessary re-renders. We just take the last request for re-render and reject all of the, all of the request before that. In that way, we only have the latest request to render out the buffer. It sounds too complex, I guess, for normal users, but you can say like rendering is much more robust in this new update. So let's go to the breaking changes because this is a rewrite and it is expected to have some breaking changes. So first breaking change, of course, it's a configuration change. So if I go to configurations, you can see there are no views table. Before before this update, we have a views table which contains finder, confirmation, and some other views as well. But as I told you before, like we are now focused only on the main explorer thing. So that's why this whole configuration is only focused for finder and nothing else. So now the configuration is much more simplified, you can say that. So most of the options are similar because there is no need to change them. But now we have a new option, which is bound cursor, which actually bounds your cursor to the editable section in the Finder. I'm going to show you everything. Just let me explain and skim all through the configuration, right? So we have hooks. I haven't implemented the hooks yet, but I will implement every single detail which is necessary before making the release. The thing is, I haven't decided like what to do with hooks right now. We will back to this thing later. Integration, same as it before, no changes there. And kind also same, presets are also same. But this preset name got changed. It's from float to floating. I know it's a bit annoying, but it is what it is. I just wanted to name it floating instead of float. So it's much more like it's make much more sense to call it floating window instead of float window, whatever. So the main thing is about configuration. So let me show you my configuration for fyler.nvim. Like uh, currently this is the default configuration. The only thing I'm using is the icons. Let me just disable this as well, right? So if I reopen the plugin, you can see there are no icons. There are simply no icons at all, and it will work flawlessly, no problem at all. So let me show you the configuration field bound cursor, like what actually it does. So if I set the conceal level to 0, you can see there are some hidden items, or you can say IDs. And this is the core concept, like how these editable file system plugin works under the hood. Uh, these same terminologies used by oil and vim and mini files as well. So it's pretty common in these kinds of file manager. So you can see if I press L to go left, I can't because my cursor is bounded. I cannot go to the right because it's kind of an expected behavior, because I don't want user to mess up with this ID, and there's no use of deleting or changing this ID. So for normal users, I want uh, users to avoid this section by default. But if you are a pro and know what you are doing, you can just simply go here and set bound cursor to false. In this way, cursor will no longer be bounded. And if I set to 0, you can see my cursor is on the ID and it's no longer bounded. That's a pretty simple thing, but I prefer to let it bound. Now, in previous update, like in previous version, you find like if you don't have mini icons installed or nvim web dev icons installed, then you get a error, like because default integration for icons is mini icons, but This time there is no default icon provider in the plugin right now, because it makes much more sense, because I want this plugin to be independent. There should not be any dependency like necessary by default. So you can use the plugin itself. There is no extra dependencies. You can add them as you want, but if you just want to use the Explorer, you don't need anything else, just the filer itself for basic user experience and all of the necessary file system manipulation abilities. So, but you can enable it and the defaults are the same: NVim dev icons, Vim nerd font, and mini icons. I can change it to mini icons, refresh it, and you can see mini icons are enabled. But to be honest, I don't like mini icons that much. I prefer NVim web dev icons because they feels much more natural. Um, that's all. So there is one more thing about the configuration structure, because I told you this is a three-layered configuration structure. That's the breaking change in this. So if I open fyler.open, if I open and pass a table, something like bound cursor equals to false, and set is equals to, you can see my cursor is no longer bounded uh, to the ID. And if I press Q to quit out of this Finder window and just open the Finder without any arguments and set concealment level to 0, you can see my cursor is now bounded, which means this is the same architecture which Telescope uses. Telescope uses three-layer architecture, which means you can set up configuration for a particular window kind, or you can change the configuration at the user level, like I did through the arguments like this. So uh, this opens lots of doors, like lots of customizability for user. Like, and you can change configuration for a particular window kind. You can change uh, configuration at the startup, or you can have some global defaults as well. So this is kind of a handy thing, which heavily requested in the issues as well. So I implemented it. Now let's move on to uh, wait just a minute. Previous, okay, this one. New configuration structure, we completed that. Changes in Finder action invoke. Yeah. So previously um, there was a method in Finder. Let me just go here, and if I go to a file which called actions.lua, you can see we have not this one, Finder init. So we have this function called action, like action call, or exec action, which means execute the action. So those actions are no longer available, because you can just simply call them from the API. Like, if you have a Finder instance, you can just simply call them. You don't need an action to do the job. Let me show you what I mean. That if I go to finders.lua, and you can see here, if I go to refresh, so you can see, if you have an instance like this, if you have an instance like this is a Finder instance, this kind of instance you will get when you set up your own custom actions. Okay, let me just set them just to demonstrate. So we have mappings, and I want to set mappings in normal mode. Wait, let me just go through the default mappings and just grab one of them. Okay, let's grab this one, and let's say I set up like this. Okay, we don't need this, and here we go. Okay, so let's suppose I need I want a custom actions to set up. So I can just simply pass the function, and here, this is this argument is the finder instance that you can use to do custom things. Uh, Let me just show you something. Like if I do print, let's just print this instance, for example. If I press um, if I press just S, or you can say control S will make much more sense. Okay, so if I press this, only this, and if I open it up, and if I press Control S, you can see this is the whole Finder instance you have. And if I want to, let's say, toggle some things out, if I want to invoke any actions, like if I go to here, we have actions. Okay, so this is the close action. We have follow action. We have lots of other actions as well, like mutate action, I guess. Yeah, we have mutate action, and we have open action. Like we have multiple actions. Like we have refresh, like the dispatch refresh in previous updates, and we have select. We have a lot of things. So for example, for this example, I'm gonna use this toggle UI action. Let's go here, and if I try to call this, I can simply directly call this thing, instead of like in previous update you have to do instance action call, and then you have to do these things, but now you don't have to. You can just simply call that action directly from the instance. So if I want to toggle hidden files, so let's say dot files, I can do that here. So if I refresh it and go here, if I press Control S, nothing is happening. Let me just check the actual arguments for this. Where are the UI? Okay, so this accepts the hidden items. I forgot. So we have hidden items, and this, I believe um it's an array. Let me just go to configuration. Yeah, like this. And if I go here, and yeah, okay, so I can just simply pass hidden items if I want to toggle the hidden items only. So let's restart, and if I press Control S, now this time it toggles the hidden items. You can see hidden items are now being toggled. So that's kind of a way to set up your own custom action. It's pretty simple now. Like in previous update, you have to do a lot of stuff, but now you don't have to. It's directly built into the instance instead of using the action. And actions are now much more robust and flexible. You can provide arguments to change their behavior. Um, Anyways, let's move on. Changes in public API. In previous update, we have fyler.lua, I guess. Yeah, in fyler.lua, we have open, close, toggle, focus, navigate. Now, these two functions are no longer available as a public API because I need a little bit of thinking, like, should I include them or not? Because they kind of feel unnecessary. If I ever feel like they are necessary to, include, then I will include in future. But for now, they are out of the public API. So currently, if I go to fyler.lua, you have um, you have close API, the open API, and the toggle API. And I guess these are enough to do, you know, uh, basic things like open close or toggle. I think a normal user do not need other than these three APIs, in my opinion. So no built-in Git or LSP support. So what's that mean? It means the thing is, I want to make this plugin more and more close to NetRW. NetRW is a built-in file manager for NeoVim. So I want to mimic that thing. And NetRW doesn't support Git statuses by default. Neither it supports LSP. So what I did, instead of setting it up as a default, I create a extension mechanism to accept third-party functionality into the Finder. So you can see we have extensions. So currently we have two types of extensions, the Git and the trash, because trash is also not supported in NetRW. That's why I also include this in trash, like sorry, in extension, and we have Git. So the way you can enable those extension is pretty simple. You just have to set the Git enable in the extension table and the trash as well. Like, let me just put them in new line so you can see it much better. Okay, so you have an extension table, and currently, like, there are two built-in extensions. First one is Git and the trash. Enabling them is pretty simple. Just enable them as true, like this. So if I refresh and if I open the Finder again, you can see there are Git statuses symbols, and they are propagating to the parent as well, and they are pretty fast. You don't feel a difference in rendering after enabling this extension. Also, there is if I delete this thing, you can see now instead of deleting it, it's moving the to-dos into trash. I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna undo this change. So there is one more thing about Git extension. It's also configurable. If you don't want the inline status icons, you can just simply um, set it up to false, and the difference you will see, like, now you have right aligned status symbols, because some people like this aligned symbols and some people like um, icons attached next to the entry name. So I include both of them. You can use whatever style you want, but I prefer this one. I don't like the right aligned one, although our previous update uses that design by default, but whatever. Now, LSP support, definitely I'm gonna include LSP support in future, but currently I'm thinking about it before adding it. I need to think about it a little more. One Finder instance per tab. Now you only have one Finder instance per tab. You cannot open multiple Finder instance in a single tab, which is, I think, plenty. User, I don't think user needs um, more Finder instance in a single tab. If you need it, then I don't know, just don't use it. Okay, so if I open Finder with a floating window, you can see the previous one automatically gets closed and this one opens automatically. And if I do split left most, see, and if I open new tab and open it in a floating window, you can see it is open. And if I do tab next, this is open as well. So this is a simple, breaking change, not a big deal. Then we have no window picking functionality. Now there is no window picker. Window picker is a useful thing when you have multiple windows open and you want to open file in a particular window. So it asks you for the target window before opening it. We will implement it in future, but currently I'm skipping that because there are bigger things to worry. No file system watching. Yeah, file system watching, for now I disabled and didn't implement the file system watching because I need a better way to, handle all the rendering plus mutation and plus the file system watching, you know. So currently I don't have anything in mind to handle all of these things at the same time, but I will figure it out in future. Don't worry, file system watching will be there. Now we have no more window and buffer. Yeah, these are the fixes that we did in this rewrite. There are no more window buffer bugs, which are like people usually complain about. Fyler.nvim is pretty broken UI wise. Um, it conflicts with a lot of other plugins, and most of the time it just throws error on, simple edge cases. So I try to solve them as much as I can, and I haven't noticed any of them in extreme conditions. But if you ever feel or notice any bugs related to UI or Windows, then you can just open an issue because I'm a human and I can do mistakes. Split will now act as a proper sidebar, and what that means actually. Let me just close that. Let's reopen it and open it in a split window kind. So now if you want to open, like if I try to open a like make file into this Finder window, you can see that buffer automatically gets redirect to the a suitable window. It no longer going to um, take over this Finder window because it's not a better user experience if we did allow that. That's why I redirecting that buffer into the suitable window. And one more thing, if I closes this window and try to open the make file, it still opens it up. It's not a big deal. And if I close this thing up, try to open make file, it still opens in a suitable window. So, and it maintains the, actual window size. So don't worry about it. This will never gonna throw error. I mean, I suppose. No more expected file system manipulation. Yeah, I developed an algorithm about resolving file system actions. I will document this algorithm into the README or some other documentation, but in the same repository, so that you guys can validate that algorithm as well, because it could be similar to oil and vim, but I'm not really sure. I haven't checked it. Like I haven't compared both of the algorithms that thoroughly, but it could be more closer to oil and vim approach. But oil and vim uses two different tries, but I'm using a single one and uses a BFS approach. Um, I will document this algorithm in a README or in some kind of documentation, maybe in wiki pages. But I tested this algorithm and it handles all of the cases. So I'm pretty happy about this algorithm. So if it did, if didn't, the cool thing about this algorithm is it didn't just allow any operation to just happen. This algorithms, like if there are any cycles detected or it can't resolve the operations correctly, then it just throws an error instead of executing the resolved one. So no more incomplete action mutations. Better Windows support. Better Windows supports means my plugin is literally broken on Windows. Like in no more file focus. Like everything is just broken because Windows is a literally complex and really hard to make adapt operating system because it's a file like case insensitive file system like Mac OS, and also it has drives, and there are a bunch of other things to be handled. But this time in this update, this got fixed. I tested it both manually and added some automated tests to perform all of the main operations on Windows as well. So don't worry, it will not it will no longer break and ruin your mood. So these are the fixes. I think these are the much more important thing in this rewrite. So features, three-layer configuration structure, I already explained it. Actions are now accepts arguments. I also explains it. Toggleable UI, I also explained this. You can toggle this hidden files, or and you can also toggle the indent markers like this. These are the indent markers. You can toggle it by GI like this, and you can toggle dot files with G dot like oil and vim. It's pretty well documented in both NeoVim help tags and the README. So you can go through and read all of the stuff. Auto resize windows, like windows going to be resized automatically as the NeoVim get resized. Extension mechanism, I already explained it. Like now Fyler and Vim can support extension on multiple scenarios, and maybe in future there are a lot of things to be extend, but who knows. Improvements in command line. um, Previously you can only open the finder window from the command line, but you cannot close it. So now if I do filer open, it opens the finder window. If I do filer toggle, no, toggle, it opens it up. If I toggle again, it close, open and close. If I filer open and do filer close, it also works. It's pretty simple, but now command line is much more, you know, flexible. So these are the things that I want to, explain for this rewrite before making the release. But before ending this video, let's try to do some file system manipulations. So this is an empty directory. As you can see, there is nothing in this directory. It's a temporary directory just for this demo. If I open file and do ADIR or let's create a file as well. Let's create another file. Let's save it. If I press Y, it creates three of them. So let's go to the new line and press tab to add an indentation to create a file inside directory, inside that directory, which is a file, I guess. So if I press enter, you can see this file is inside the ADIR directory, and I can just simply move a file to this directory like this, or you can just simply uh, remove that line from here, put this here, and add an indentation to this. That's all. And if I save this, you can see it's a move operation, uh, simply accepted. And copy operation is also easy. This is the copy operation. Uh, what's left? Okay, so there is a special kind of operation. Let me just show you. Let's put this file here and let's delete all of them. So move that, and let me just first remove the trash functionality because I don't want trash to be enabled. Neither I want the git thing. I just want a simple file tree. So let's just put this thing uh, here, and let's delete all of this, and let's accept it. And now you can see we have a file and b file. Let's put some. This is a file, right? And this is b file, and let's save both of them. And let's say I want to do a swap operation on both of these lines. So let's rename it to b file, and let's rename this one to a file. And if I press save, you can see there's a swap operation. This move operation breaks into three parts. First, it moves a file into a temporary location. Then it moves the b file. Then it moves the temporary file into b file correctly. If I accept the changes and open the a file, you can see this is a b file. And if I open b file, this is an a file. There is one more uh, thing. Let me just back. Uh, let's just reswap them and create another file, which is c file. And let's put this is a c file. And there is a chain dependency operation. Means if I want to change it to b, this one to c, and this one to d, this time it will going to work. If I press save, you can see first it moves c to d, then b to c, and then a to b. In this way, we won't lose any of the entries or any of the files, and it simply replaces it. So this is a file inside the b file, this is b file inside the c file, and this is d file inside c file inside d file. And let me just remove them because we don't need them. We can go up the directory, we can come back to the directory, we can visit any other directory as well, like this one. I think we have permission denied error, and this is not a some breaking error. It's actually the vim.notify error, so it doesn't break anything. If I try to go this directory, it's functionable, and yeah, everything's pretty smooth. So if I close it, and you can, yeah, as usual, you can provide the path here, and like work me.nvim. You can open it up. Simple. You can explore whatever you want like this. It's pretty simple. So I think that's all for this video. I explained everything. If I missed anything, I will make a, you know, another video for all of the leftover things, but I think I explained all of the things. And don't worry, those new updates will keep on coming in this plugin for a while because we have to enable, like, we have to add SSH integration and many more things. So stay tuned. This plugin will get updated so frequently from now on because we handle most of the core bugs. Now it's time to just expand this plugin functionality. So that's it, guys. I will meet you in the next one.